Naturally Creole here. I have my bestie, Kiki, and I invited her here today so that we can talk about dieting, extremes, and everything that is inclusive in that category. So we're going to talk to Kiki because I don't want to give you guys any misinformation. Before we start, let's give Kiki a chance to tell a little bit about herself so that you guys will be more familiar with who she is and what she does.
Well, hey guys, I'm Kiki from Eat More to Weigh Less. I am a wife, a homeschooling mom, and a certified personal trainer, and I'm also the original co-founder of Eat More to Weigh Less. Yeah, we started M2WL in 2012. It kind of was slowly starting before that. Actually, me and the original co-founder, her name was Lucia. She is no longer doing the behind the scenes stuff with the M2WL, but she's still very much M2WL. But we originally started just kind of talking because we were talking to all these ladies that were under eating, over exercising, you know, because that's what so many ladies think, like you gotta like go and do 2 hours of cardio or, you know, eat 1,200 calories. And so just all the research that I started doing over the years for myself, because I was tired of gaining and losing the same 10 pounds, you know, you like, or losing 10 and gaining 15. So, you know, and that gets old because then that extra 5 starts adding up. You look up and you're like 40 pounds heavier than when you started, but you're still trying to use the same method. So I just really dove into the research with that. And you know how much I love researching. And when I find something, like I go ham on it and I get crazy with the research and I just dig in and dig in and dig in and dig in. And when I discover what the solution to it is, you know, I just start telling everybody about it.
Whenever I don't want to research something, I'll find out if she did it already.
I'm that person. Can you read this book and tell me what it says?
Can you pick me up and just give me the, you know, the cliff notes, because I don't want everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is essentially how M2WL got started. It was me researching for me, but as I really started seeing like what the science was saying, I kind of felt obligated because I know that not everybody is into the science, like I am, but she's not into science. I did her science homework. But I just kind of felt obligated to tell women what the science said, you know, in layman's terms. This stuff has been out there forever, you know, but it's just nobody's talking about it in mainstream. And we go to the bookstores and we just see the diet books and the TV shows, you know, everything's promoting, you know, the mainstream fad diet stuff, and we just keep falling for it because that's all we see.
You kind of already touched on the kind of extremes, and I also noticed on your Instagram post and your blog, you talk a lot about people doing the extremes, like either maybe doing an all vegan diet or a raw diet or gluten-free or, you know, only cardio, and people who do only Zumba and things like that.
Right.
What exactly is your stance on that? Like, what do you feel like may be wrong with just choosing something of that sort?
Well, see, like I like you said, like I talk a lot about extremes because I'm really an anti-extremist. I don't even know what the word.
Make up my own words.
Whatever that means. But I am against extremes. I don't get it. Like I mean, I say I don't get it, but I do. You know, I know that, like I say, that's what the industry has fed us. You know, we watch shows like The Biggest Loser, and you know, we see these shows where they're exercising like 6 hours a day, you know, and they're eating like nothing. You know what I mean? They're like whipping up some egg whites in the kitchen and like eating some cheese or something, and we feel like that's what we have to do, and it's like, you know, there has to be this huge sacrifice in order to get the weight off, or you want it to be so fast, you know, like we see that, like they step on the scale and I lost 15 pounds this week, like that's insane.
3 weeks.
Yeah, that's, you can't, we have to stop expecting that because it's those extremes that it puts us on that yo-yo. So like our Eat More to Weigh Less, the stance is don't start something if you can't finish it, basically. Like there's no point in cutting out like entire food groups, you know, especially if it's not like for like a religious purpose or, you know, like doctor prescribed or something like that, or some, you know, like a true personal conviction about something. for like, I don't think that anything other than that constitutes a reason for somebody to remove an entire food group.
So what we mean by entire food groups will be like, some people will say, well, this person here lost weight because she doesn't eat meat at all. And then so you feel like you need to do the same. Or this person does only cardio. She, you know, runs on a treadmill, does a bicycle when they go to the gym, but don't touch weights at all. So it can be a kind of food thing extreme, and it can be exercise extreme.
Exactly.
So we're kind of talking a little bit about both. Now I know we're talking a lot about losing weight, but some of this stuff will pertain to you know, gaining weight, kind of maintaining your weight. But I know a lot of people want to know more information about losing weight, so I guess we'll kind of hit on that more so in this video, and then we can also do others for you guys. We want to get a little bit more into, we started noticing, or I started noticing, I'm going to put this on me, as far as, you know, I have natural hair, so does Kiki, and she actually is my reason for going natural. Yay, Kiki.
See, another thing that I'm like, you have to do it.
She was like, hey, you gotta try it. And I did eventually, and I love it, and I'm so glad that I did because of her. But we start to notice that those of us who may have gone natural, that we start looking at our bodies after, you know, not putting chemicals on our hair. So we start to look at the things that we're eating also. So a lot of people, I'm noticing now, are kind of moving towards being vegans. Nothing is wrong with that at all. We have no problems with people being vegans or even pescatarians. Is that how you say it, right? Pescatarians? Yeah. Because actually, I thought about
like they eat fish,
right? So they eat fish, but like not meat, like red meat,
right?
Like chicken and stuff. So paleo diets and vegans and things like that. So what do you think could be some pros and cons to maybe doing like a vegan diet? And it maybe if it's something you just, you know, some people have been kind of brought up that way, which is fine. Right. Some people are just looking at what others are doing and trying to mimic. So what can be some benefits and, you know, pros and cons to that?
I think that's the biggest thing is first of all knowing why, you know, you're doing something, and if you have a personal conviction to not eat meat, or like, you know, like you said, like you grew up that way, or maybe you know, I know there's religions where you don't eat meat, or you don't eat certain types of meat or something like that. Like I think that's one thing, but I think also sometimes we tend to glamorize certain types of eaters, you know, and even being certain types of eaters, sometimes, you know, we can look down on people who don't eat the same way that we do. And I say a lot of this stuff from experience. Like my stance on extremism comes because I've lived it, you know, because I've gone through like all the elimination diets and taking almost everything out of my diet to the point where I wasn't eating anything, you know, and I was still miserable. And then, you know, I eventually started putting a lot of those back in when I did the research. So what I feel like the pros of like something, maybe if you decide to be a vegetarian or vegan, or like even removing the meats from your diet, sometimes I think a person may not understand that their benefits are simply because they started eating more vegetables. You know, it's some of the benefits could still be had if they just add more vegetables back into their diet. So I feel like if you're removing the food because this person did and they look that way, and you feel like if I remove it then I'll look that way, like I don't believe in doing it for a specific look. I think you have to have a deeper reasoning for what you're doing, and I feel the same way with like with gluten and stuff like that, because if someone has celiac and they're gluten-free and they happen to like have a body that you admire, I don't think that their disease is a reason for you to remove gluten from your diet. So I do think that you'll get certain benefits, but sometimes you have to step back and see, okay, what else have I done that may have gotten me these benefits? Am I eating less processed foods? Am I adding more fruits and vegetables? You know, eating like maybe sometimes 5 to 10 times more than you were eating before, because it doesn't necessarily, you know, it doesn't equate to being skinny. You know, there are overweight vegans and vegetarians too, so I don't think someone should do it just for the weight loss benefit, although a lot of people do still experience weight loss. But like I said, it's because maybe your fiber intake is higher, your, you know, the vitamins and minerals that you're getting from the added fruits and vegetables is higher. Your fat content may be lower because you've stopped eating a lot of the meats with saturated fat.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about your clients. I guess not specifically any client, but you have clients who you kind of train online only, and then you have clients you see in person, right? Kind of, right.
Right. I'm almost exclusively online now, just because of family obligations. But yeah.
Okay. Either way, do all of your clients eat meat?
No, they don't. I have clients from different religious backgrounds. So I have some clients who, you know, they may be Muslim, so maybe they only eat certain meats. And I also have a client who's Rastafarian, so she doesn't eat any meat at all. She's completely vegan. So I get it's a variety. Some of them eat meat, some of them don't. So it's not, I'm obviously not anti-vegan, you know, but like I say, it's for my client. She came to me as an obese vegan. So it's, again, you can't just associate the type of eating with physique, you know. So it's possible to still be overweight and be vegan, you know. And the advice that I give to her is not any different than I give to my meat eating clients, you know. And she's seeing progress, but again, it's because she's, you know, she still abides by the same protein requirements. And like I said, so that's one of the things that you have to take into consideration, because that part of the equation doesn't change, right? You know, based on whether or not, you know, it's like, oh, so now I don't eat meat, I don't need protein. Not necessarily. You still need it, and it's gonna be that much harder to get in enough protein. So that's why I say you really need to be like fully convicted of doing it, because you still have to meet whatever the requirements are for your goal. So like if it's fat loss, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting in enough protein to be able to get the fat loss on.
And when, like she mentioned about being fully convicted, meaning you have got to be mentally prepared to kind of want to fully partake in that diet in order for it to work. A lot of people will try to say, well, I'm totally not going to eat any meat, but then you see a piece of fried chicken at the next family barbecue and you are in agony because you feel like you can't eat it.
Or it's like something that like your mama makes that only she makes, and you're like, I gotta eat this. Right. You know.
I haven't. Yeah, that's me. You know, for the longest time I kept saying, you know, maybe I'm not gonna do any type of pork because I have arthritis. I don't know if you guys know, and I was told this was one of the things, or actually I read that's one of the things that kind of can cause the inflammation. But my mom makes this like bomb dressing with ham in
sausage?
It. Right. She makes it like with ham and then like this with sausage as well. Yeah. And I feel like every Thanksgiving I have to eat it. But so like this past Thanksgiving I tried a little bit different and it wasn't the same. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. But do you feel like people will kind of dive into these diets and then realize, oh my goodness, I cannot keep up with this, and that would be the first thing that causes them to not go through with their dieting or working out and fitness?
Absolutely. And what you brought up was actually, you know, something that I probably should have mentioned when we were talking about the cons of removing things, is that if you're removing something and that's how you plan on eating for life, then it's all good, because it's not gonna make or break anything, and you don't stand a chance of actually adding that thing back in. One of the issues with removing something from your diet that you don't intend on keeping out forever is that you can create an allergic reaction to it. So that's something to consider, because a lot of people actually see that as a confirmation that they shouldn't be eating the item. But what happened is that you took it out and it became foreign to your body. And then when you add it back again, you have a reaction to it. So a lot of times, and I know because I did this myself, and I would add the thing back, and then I would have, like, you know, my stomach would hurt or I'd break out or something, and I'd be like, see, I knew I shouldn't be eating this thing, and I would think that that was confirmation that I shouldn't be eating it, when often it was just confirmation that I hadn't been eating it. So therefore it was an allergic reaction. And you know this because my son was raised not eating pork. Right. And I think the first time he had a hot dog, he was with you. and he came home and he was sick to his stomach. Yeah. And we did not understand what it was. And that's what it was. It was that his body did not know what pork was. You know, he didn't grow up eating it like we did. And when he finally had some, it made him sick. So, you know, it became something that, you know, now he couldn't have because it was removed. you know, and so it's either something that he has to force himself to work through, like keep reintroducing it and being sick, or just leave it out for good. And because it's not something that he ever really had, he didn't miss it, so we kept it out. But that's something that as adults, we have to take that into consideration. If you're used to eating something, you know, because like I tried taking like chocolate and stuff out of my diet, which...
Big no-no.
Let's keep it real. Kiki and chocolate, I can't do that. And it was so hard that then I don't stick to things. It's something to, you know, to think about, that if you're doing something that's so hard that you can't stick with it, then 9 times out of 10 you're gonna stop doing the diet. You're gonna go back to normal, whatever that is, and you're gonna regain any weight that you did lose. So it just makes sense to lose the weight doing something that you can do for life, and it doesn't have to be as extreme as we think. You don't have to like
so
totally
you don't have to take out everything that you're normally used to eating. So
exactly,
and keep eating your chocolate,
please. For me, just eat the chocolate.
Eat the chocolate. And those of you who, you know, gotta have that piece of fried chicken, don't not say, you know, I'm not gonna eat any more chicken anymore. You know, you're gonna go back to it anyway.
Right. Go. Be all in. Whatever it is you're gonna do, be all in. If you want to be vegan, then I mean that's great. Be vegan, you know, but still get in your protein. Eat a good variety of stuff. That doesn't mean like start eating, you know, just tons of meat-like products that just aren't meat. Because I mean,
you're not gonna be satisfied.
Right. If you love the meat that much that you go on and you're getting like fake meats, then maybe you just want meat. You know?
That's true.
Like I said, unless it's a doctor prescribed thing, then don't put yourself through something that you're not willing to keep going with forever. Like you really have to think like, okay, you know, it's winter, I'm doing this, but when it's barbecue season, am I gonna want a burger? Am I gonna want a hot dog? Am I gonna eat the chicken? Am I gonna want the ribs? You know, whatever it is that you grew up eating, if you can't see yourself being without it forever, then don't do it.
Right. And that forever is a long time.
That means forever. Just in case you're wondering how long, like
forever.
Life. Always.
For the remaining of your life. So don't do it. So you mentioned about excluding foods and people eating certain things, or maybe trying to eliminate those things that they know they're going to want to have. Now I've noticed on your Instagram that you do post pictures of the food that you eat. And when I tell you guys, she actually
mostly chocolatey food.
She eats real food, like whole meals. You won't see anything where it looks like, you know, 1 egg and 2 green beans, you know. These are actually like full plated meals, right? Yeah, I don't know. That was like crazy. I was trying to think of something where it's like 2 of something.
Yeah. It sounds like a good diet meal though if you're into fats. Right. That's the green bean egg diet.
I'm an egg eater. Like I love eggs, try that. So I'll do that. You're not gonna like wake up the next morning and like you magically lost 5 pounds.